Everybody? Good. So this is the audience participation class that I'm going to stand up here and just talk because I talk enough as it is. So, first of all, anybody know what reverse prospecting is? What is it? What is reverse prospecting? Bueller? No, Bill knows.
First time, and it worked.
And it does work, right? Okay, Bill, what is reverse prospecting?
You find the buyer is signed up on the multi-list with a checkbox that says you can allow reverse prospecting, and then you can go into your side of the MLS and see what agents have those people.
Correct. Here, get your day. All right.
Did you bring your own kisses?
I brought my own.
Oh, you're my favorite.
So I got.
Oh,
Right, I brought out these stuff in June. And I was late.
Positive reinforcement.
For breakfast, but I plumbed.
That's
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
So yes, so reverse prospecting is a tool for you to get in contact with agents who have clients who have searches set up that might, your house might be a good fit for. So anytime that we can talk to those people, that's a really important thing, right? There's several reasons that you want to do reverse prospecting. Let's talk about what some of those are. What do you think one of the reasons? Yeah, Mike.
Because agents set it and forget it and don't look.
Then, because agents set it and forget it and don't look. So how many of us have searches set up for 1 million people and we never ever look at them until they come to us, or we're desperate and we're going through because we really need to say, oh, we're going to them, right? So they set it and forget. Yes, right. I totally. You're honest. There you go. What's another reason to do reverse prospecting? So let me ask you a question, Tasha. If I contacted you, I can. So if I contacted you and said, hey, Tasha, I see that your client put a heart on this new listing in reverse prospecting. Let me tell you about it. Maybe you can figure out, we can talk about who that client is. Maybe you can get it in. Do you like me better? Do you hate me? Do you at least feel like, oh, I might have somebody to reach out to about something?
Yeah, I definitely think that builds a rapport with other agents.
Builds a rapport. And let's face it, when we're competing on offers in future, anytime we have a better relationship with someone, it's a good thing, right? What's a third reason to do reverse prospecting, particularly on an overpriced listing?
I don't have that answer, but I know that whenever I send out my text to everybody, I let them know it was a 3% code.
Amen. So that's good too. You're getting multiple attention. Good. It's not good.
What about in case it expires?
What's that?
In case it expires, another good reason. Oops, sorry, I'm gonna do better. So here's another reason, and this is, I actually use reverse prospecting 2 ways. One, in my listing presentation. So, today we're always competing, or we're always trying to justify our 3% commission or whatever percent commission you charge. So one of the things that we talk about is it takes more than sticking a sign in the yard and putting it on the MLS, right? We need to actively prospect for buyers for your listing, and we do that every day. So one of the things I talked to them about is reverse prospecting. And I say, hey, we've got this really cool tool that like nobody uses, and I don't know why. And it enables me to see agents who have searches set up for their clients where your home's a potential match. So one of the things that I do is I contact all those agents in multiple ways and try and understand what's going on with their clients and be able to position your home and see if we can get them in and get them in. So first of all, how does that? You're working hard. I'm working hard for them, right? Exactly. I'm working hard for them. The other thing, I'm getting better, or you're getting better.
We're both getting better.
I know. So the other thing that it does is, again, that overpriced listing or that listing that didn't sell even though we thought it was going to sell, for us to be able to week 1 say, hey, 197, and you'd be surprised, 197 is not a huge number. There are 197 agents who had a search set up where your home was a potential match. I sent an email to every one of those agents, making sure that they saw this property and talking a little bit about it so that they could contact their client. Now I'm following up with texts and phone calls to agents to make sure that we're getting as much traffic in as possible. So if that's one of the things that you do, in a few days of it going on the market, and then a couple of weeks later, you still don't have any offers, when you're sitting down to have that dreaded price decline discussion or price or improvement discussion, you have data. I contacted all these people, here's what was going on, and, you know, I'm doing my job, because what do they always say? Oh, well, not enough people have seen it because they didn't get shown. Well, they didn't see it because they didn't think it was worth the price, right? Location, condition, price, you can't change the location. You might want to improve the condition. You probably want to improve the price. So this gives us a little bit of credibility when we're sitting down talking to the sellers, because now they know we're doing our job to try to draw people in. The other thing that's really cool about reverse prospecting is, you know, so Heather and I have a conversation, and Heather, why are your people not interested? I call you about this property and you say, yeah, my people aren't really looking, right? Okay, tell me more about that.
So this property that you're talking about, the
Interesting. I can completely understand how they might think that. Do you think it might be worth going in to take a look? Because pictures are really deceptive. It's kind of hard to determine. Do they have another home that they're ready to put an offer on? They do? Okay, all right, great. So if that doesn't work, do you think maybe we could get them in to take a second look? You know, to at least give it a shot? Okay, cool. So again, you get to have that conversation. How many people are hearing agents that say, well, you know, they're not looking because they're waiting for interest rates to go up. Just like all of our buyers, right? So then we have to have that whole conversation. What do you think is happening if and when interest rates go up? Well, it's gonna be more demand. So the price is gonna go up. So is it actually gonna help them? And one of my favorite lines that I use with reverse prospecting is, I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for opportunities to make a sale. And so what I would encourage you to do is go back in and say, hey, I think we ought to just take a look at this one. You know, I talked to the agent, they seem pretty motivated or whatever. And one of three things happens. Either A, you walk in and you love the house. You know, that they love it. So you get a sale agent. Two, they don't love the house, but you get them excited about looking for houses again. Or third, you understand that it doesn't really matter what's going on. They're not going to be making any moves anytime soon. And so you can put them lower down on your buyer pool and start focusing your time and energy on somebody that's maybe going to transact. So helping the agents get a little word could be super helpful.
What I love about that is I think oftentimes we assume that agents on the other end are just as knowledgeable or well-versed or as great at negotiating and scripting and all those things as we are. But there's, I don't know how to say this in the best way, but it's just, there's a smaller number of you that are as skilled as you compared to the amount of realtors out. When you're reverse prospecting, you're kind of coaching them.
You are coaching. And they like it. I have never had somebody fight me on it. And sometimes it's even super senior agents. And I'll be like, you know, you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, but do you really think home prices are going to go down if interest rates go down? Do you think they'll probably go up because all those people that are waiting are going to jump in? And then you shut your mouth. And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. That's what, and then they want to tell you their story, and you go, is that a conversation with your father? Because I know I'm struggling with this conversation. And the more that you can be, you know, in it with them, the better chance you are to get them to actually get your buyer in. And that's all our goal is to get those buyers in. So here's how you do it. When you go into your MLS, you got to pull up listings. And then you go into view and you find that listing. If it's coming soon or active, you can reverse prospect. So you click the little box here, and now you see a reverse prospecting tool. And all of these agents have a search setup where, look at how many agents, you know, Michelle Steinman's name might be on here sometimes. No, not this spring. This is Laura Priestman. but these people. So when you want to send a message, and unfortunately for this particular listing, we don't have any hearts, but a lot of times right up in here, you'll see hearts or the little, what is it? It's not a question mark, it's a light bulb, which is like, oh, baby, I have a question, I want to think about it. So those are the people that I talk to first. To send a message through reverse prospecting, you just click on this person's name, you show up and you type your message in here. I'm not going to do this because this is actually Melissa's listing because ours are under contract. But you type in your message, and then what I always do is I copy and paste it. I copy it before I send it. I click send, and then I paste it into the next one. So as soon as you sent this one, you're back and you go hit the next one, and then you're going to paste that message. Right? You're going to go back and you're going to paste the message. I like to have a very generic message, like, hey, what that you saw, you and your client saw our newest listing at 20 Jack Nicholas in Edders for $329.9. It's completely updated, 4-bedroom, 2 full bath case on a private cul-de-sac with 2 massive party decks. Best of all, it's a couple blocks from the public golf course at Valley Green. And then I put a little note on this one because it was the right price point. I said, I just learned that buyers that qualify for a conventional loan with a PHFA down payment assistance to get this great home at list price for only $10K down and less than $2,900 a month, $2,900 a month. Contact me for details. You know how many people I got from that? How many agents go, what do you mean $10,000 down on a $330,000? I got 7 calls. So there are people that are looking, not everybody, but there are people that are looking. So come up with a message that gives them enough insight to be thinking, oh, my people might like that. It's by the public office. I didn't know that. Give them a reason to send it to their people. Now, here's another trick. When you go into, so I sent this listing to people, right? And they're going, hey, well, who is my client? In theory, when you send the link, it's supposed to say at the bottom the names of the client. Sometimes either people don't see it or they don't know. So here's how you find if somebody says it's client number 48725, and people are like, well, what's that? When you go to clients and you go to contacts, you get all the people that you have contacts. And if you scroll all the way over, you see their reference number. And that's the number that we have in reverse prospecting. So when going back to this one. So when I call Heather Caperna, her client is 63002.
So she can look that up in
She can
her,
look that up in hers. I don't
You
know that
can't.
person.
you can't, see it, but
Thank
she can
you,
look
yeah.
up.
She can look that up in hers. Now, I have gotten some of them where you actually can see, and they're like, oh, Megan so-and-so. Sometimes that doesn't come through. I don't know what to do. Anybody?
I noticed with me, if I did that constant search where it came to me,
Then it doesn't.
then it would show like mine.
Okay. Okay. So that might be part of it. But you can tell them, all you got to explain is go to your contacts, go to your clients, go to contacts, and then scroll all the way over to the right-hand side and you'll see that reference so that they can figure out who that agent is. It never hurts, if, Ella and I want to work together, or I've always hoped to work with you. It never hurts to put a little positive message on the bottom. Can't wait to work with you again, Henchy, whatever it is. Just building rapport. The more that you can build rapport through this, not only will it help you with your listing, but it's going to help you with the next time that you've got a contract out on that person. Because they want to work with you. Like, oh, she's always fun. Right? And there's funny because I've had people that have told me, I've always wanted to work with you. We've never worked together. But I've talked to them probably 20 times through reverse prospecting. So when we actually work together, it feels like we get each other. This is one tool to do it. The other thing that's great about reverse prospecting is it gives you all the phone numbers. So I highly recommend, particularly if you're newer, you see names that you see all the time, put all those people in your phone and I text them. You can text either the link through Bright, or I usually use the link through homes.com because it's better. But go to homes.com, type in your listing, and type in your listing so that now you've got that link and you can text it to them. You know, and you're going to start and go, hey, it's Shannon Foster with Keller Williams. I just want to make sure you saw this cute house that we just listed. Give them a little bit of information. Love to get your buyers in there. Let me know if there's anything I can do.
And when you text, then you can tell them what the co-broke is, but through multi-list, you're not allowed.
Right. No, you can't put that on. You can't put that. Thank you for clarifying that. You cannot put the co-broke in your reverse prospecting message, but you can in text, for sure. And sending them that homes.com link is very easy. Right? So that's one of the steps.
Shannon, how many agents do you think in marketplace right now are using reverse prospecting?
No, because I
Do you
get up and I don't get that many. Do you guys?
Do
get a
any
lot
of you
them?
get
Maybe one a week.
Yeah.
one a week?
No, and it's the same agent. It's the
Interesting.
same
Okay.
agent. Steve Gephardt does it all the time.
Yeah, that's what I got.
He does it
Okay.
all the time.
Okay.
But I will tell you, I do it, even when we were selling houses like hotcakes, I did it right away. Because in the event that things didn't work out the way we wanted, or they didn't get the higher than asking that they wanted, I wanted to go back and sit down. And one of the things, I sold a house for First Choice one time. And the first day that it was on the market, I said, 197 people in reverse prospecting. I sent a message to all of them. And all you're doing is pointing and clicking. It's not rocket science. It doesn't take that long. And I said that I'm going to follow up. And then I just kept him updated on all the things. And I told him how many showings, and I told him about the feedback. And I just kept sending him texts and emails. And he told me, he's like, you blew up my phone. But at the end of the day, he then told 3 of his agents, hey, we should be doing this. And it's probably what they're doing anyway, a lot of it. They just weren't, I mean, you're checking the feedback, you're checking how many showings, you're checking who canceled, you're checking what, you're doing that. We're just not communicating it to our people. So use it as a tool to communicate as much as you possibly can to your sellers, and you're building that rapport and that goodwill so that either A, they tell everyone in the world, wow, she really worked hard for me. B, when you have to sit down and have that awkward conversation, you've got data. And it doesn't look like you were just sitting the put aside in the yard, stuck on the animals. Yeah. Thank you.
How to do, look for them again.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, 100%. We'll do a little sample message. Somebody, Michelle Snyder, you are on here. So sending it to you. So, hi, Michelle.
Melissa, did you want to see how she got here?
Yeah, like,
Oh, is that what you were trying to figure out?
then you go to
Okay.
listing and then view,
Yes.
and then what
So
to do?
you go to listing.
Oh, yeah,
Right there.
perfect, thank you.
I have like 10 of these, so if we can make more, we can make
Perfect,
more right
thank
here. Yeah. You go to listings, then you go to view, then you click over here on this box, because hopefully you have a bunch of listings in there, and so it's like, which one do you want to look at? And when you click on that box, you can see reverse prospecting. That's your option. And so then I'm going to send my message to Michelle. And I'm going to type some message, test. And then before I send it, and if you say Michelle, then obviously you're going to have to change the name, which is a lot of times why I don't, because then I can send it quicker to everybody, just like, huh, with smiley face or something. But then the ones like, I know Michelle. So I'm going to send a message, hey, I'd love to work with you again at the bottom of that. And I can still keep pointing and clicking and still pasting stuff, but then I can add my little personalized stuff. And the little personalized stuff matters, right? Because that's when people go, oh, it's prospecting. Do they really want to deal with me? Not. But they got my reverse prospecting because I made a comment about, oh, great, it's been too long since we worked together. So you copy and paste that. You go up, edit, copy. Now I'm going to send this to Michelle, and I'm going to go back to the next one. And I can just keep sending. And it does link to, so when they get that, it does link to the actual house. So then they can look at the pictures and think. But it's a really good way, as you were saying before, Brett, not everybody thinks about how to get their buyers off the fence. And so we can use that as a position. Yeah, Heather.
So when I got started, I was told to unclick that button. Don't know if the agent who was talking to me about reverse prospecting understood what it was. They thought it was a way for someone to contact.
Oh. So then those people won't show up in this. Yeah, if you unclick that button, but I would guess that you are probably the exception to the rule, because as you saw, there were hundreds. I did one for a $330,000 house with 283 agents. Now, they were not all unique agents. Some of you in this room, your name came up 4 times. But then that's the other thing, is I could be like, seriously, you've got 4 clients that are looking for this. And even when people come back to you via text or whatever, going, oh, they bought, thanks for letting me know. Because how many times have we had somebody go under contract and we accidentally keep sharing this stuff? And then they start freaking out that they made a bad decision because now there's more homes coming. That happened to you? That's not the only one that made that mistake. I know. Not a good thing. So, helpful tip for those that are newer, when you put somebody under contract, disable that search immediately so that you stop sending them homes that might look better on paper. You don't have to have the conversation that I went through that. You know, we went through 27 homes before we picked this one, and it looked better on paper, but they weren't actually. I think you're good. You don't have to.
So Shannon, I just got your email.
Yes.
And I clicked on the link and it does show me.
Oh,
So they have to click on the link, not in the body of the email.
you have to click on the link. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. What other questions do you guys have about ways to reverse prospect? And what ideas do you have? Because I think this is a game changer for listing appointments and also for just keeping the client in the loop. So, yeah, Matt.
So when I was taught how to do this, I didn't even know you could do it in Bright. I was told that you can pull the list in Bright, and then I was taught to go to my CRM and do a mass email. But I like this idea better because you can personalize it for each person. And then there's also the link, which shows you what your client is. So I didn't even know you could do it in there. So
Yeah, well, but there's, I mean, that's another way to do it if you're like.
and then I would save the agent contacts in command or
Yeah.
whatever the CRM is. Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend doing this for everything. And like you just said, saving the agent information. And I don't know about you, but I just put realtor because people change businesses sometimes. So I just put realtor, but that in my phone. But when I go through these things, sometimes the first thing I do is send a text to the 90 people that are in my phone that I know. Right? And then I go back and I start sending the emails.
One thing that I know you also do, because you and I have had, is if you have a house in a certain price range, especially those higher price points, you don't always just rely solely on the reverse prospecting. You'll go through your phone and be like, oh yeah, this is the house Michelle typically has clients. I'm gonna call it even if she's not on.
100%. And that's a good point because sometimes there are some agents that either uncheck the box, Heather, or just, maybe they're doing a concierge thing. They're just kind of figuring it out, or they don't have it set up, looking on their own for searches. So if you know that Melissa works a specific area of Carlisle regularly, she should be one of the people that you're sending a text to. Hey, I was thinking of you. I got this really cute house in Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
And people like that. Everybody likes to be felt like, you thought it, that's just so awesome.
Yeah.
Right? The other downside of doing it just through the computer is sometimes it goes to spam. So that's the other reason that you have to be careful because, and texting is a really good thing and adding the co-broker. But I have to tell you a real quick story. Very first house I ever sold. I was looking at, we were, 20 days on the market and I figured out this reverse prospecting thing and I started doing it. And I came across an agent. I sent it to him, then I texted him, then I called him and he wasn't responding. And finally I got a hold of him at 7 o'clock at night. So I was desperate. I needed to sell this house. And, he said, yeah, no, my people aren't really seriously looking. And I said, really? I said, why is that? He goes, well, they still live in Minnesota. I said, well, when they come here, what are they looking for? Well, it's very specific. I want a restored Victorian, but it's got to be in Churchtown. So, that's like X number of blocks. I said, dude, look at your email right now. This is a restored, completely updated Victorian in Churchtown. $212,000. He didn't look at it. His client didn't look at it because she was 6 months out. She sent her best friend the next day, and we got a full price off. And neither one of them would have looked at it because she was 6 to 9 months out. But because she knew it wasn't going to come up again, they went ahead and bought it. So it does work. It's a great way to build relationships and also sell and also help build a relationship with yourself. Yeah. Any other questions? It's a super easy thing. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It really is a cool thing to do. I highly recommend that you do it before it sits on the market forever. A lot of people have said to me, why are you doing this so early? It's a lot easier to get people with momentum and excitement early on than when you're 25 days out and now you start reverse prospecting and people are like, well, I didn't do this.
Yeah,
Right.
it does look like desperation.
It does. It looks like desperation.
I want to get you in before it's out.
Yeah.
I want to work with.
Because I really want to work with you. Yeah. And that plays well for me.
And mine was a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
Mine was on the market 60 days,
Yeah.
nothing happened.
And
We started,
yeah, but ultimately, sometimes it works, right? Did you get anybody in with it?
we're under contract.
Definitely deserves another.
Sorry.
Never take your eye off the prize.
So who is implementing reverse prospecting for a piece that you learned today?
Probably most of you. You do it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not nearly at that.
It
kind
sounds
of
like it goes live in reverse.
It goes coming soon, and I start reverse prospecting. So.
Oh,
and
say
that's
that
all-
again. Say that again.
Yeah, it
Say that
goes,
again.
coming soon, I start reverse prospecting, right then. And I literally time block to do it. It's like everything else, put in your calendar, you can do it. I time block to do it. I spend a couple of hours when it goes coming soon so that I can say, we're making calls and sending emails to get people in for the weekend. What seller doesn't love that? What seller doesn't love it when we say to them, part of my job is to prospect for buyers for your home each and every day? Right? Because how many other of your competitors are saying? Pulling that off.
And doing it.
And doing it. And it's easy. And it's really fun because then you build great relationships. And I will tell you, we've been told, and I know Henry team can say this too, been told that sometimes we won deals when our offer maybe wasn't quite the best, but they came back to us first because they knew we always got the settlement. We worked hard to get it done. This is one of those examples of working hard to get it done. And people watch what you do. People watch what you do. And we just did door knocking for trying to get a listing for a specific buyer the other day, and I bumped into an agent. It was his house, and he's like, "You're door knocking." I was like, "Dude, they want to be on the lot. They want this specific thing." And afterwards, he texted me because that's really cool. I'll remember that next time that we're trying to work together. It's the little things that separate you. It's the little things. Do the little things well, and you'll be surprised. Any other questions or ideas? I like your idea, Maddie, about the other two. Yeah. The rest of them might want to help.
So I had heard of some agents, not anywhere necessarily around here, but basically using reverse prospecting to then try and write more or less an offer to buyers. So they were writing it, I don't think that they were necessarily signing it, but they were using it to kind of, hey, write the offer, taking the PDF and then sending it over to the buyer's agent, being like, hey, listen, we'll take this, and it was kind of a,
Okay,
and I thought that was actually kind of a really cool idea.
because let's face it, I don't know if you guys have all done this before, but we've done reverse offers, right? Where somebody was showing interest, we can't get them to do anything, and we're like, look, let's lock these people down, what are you willing to do?
And whenever you put it on paper, it starts to become more real.
It does,
I've never done one myself, but I think
it's a good idea.
getting into the reverse process, like, there was a lot of the stuff that I didn't necessarily know they, I guess, do, or started dropping a lot of,
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff.
And then share, when you go to, what's Madden's thing, our Wednesday thing, small group, share that, share the ideas so that we can all take, I know that Drew came to my How I Grew, which is when I talked about reverse prospecting, and she implemented it with the Dave Hook team, and she said, we're doing really well. Yeah,
So if you write a reverse.
Yeah.
I know when we receive an listing agent, we have to present it. Does the buyer's agent have to present a reverse offer?
Well, there's a, I believe, a par form, and I don't think I've ever had to use it, I've tried to use it, but that,
that
that,
states that
that
you
states
did
that
present.
you did present it. I'd have to take a look at the actual verbiage, I guess, on that, but I mean, I don't know why you, if you're
Why
doing your
wouldn't you?
fiduciary responsibility to
Right.
your buyer, I don't know why you wouldn't,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'd be curious to know,
Legally, yeah.
yeah, check that, like, you know,
I don't know if you have to, but again, I think part of it is the position. And I
Right.
think when I've done it before,
maybe in specific case.
and when I've done it before, I've been like, Andrew, it seems like your people were really interested. For whatever reason, they haven't jumped. My people want to give your folks the opportunity at a reduced price
Sure.
because they've shown interest and we appreciate and respect that. You know, so here, we're serving up an offer to you,
Yeah.
take it to your people, let's start the conversation.
Yep.
When I say that to you, does it feel threatening?
No.
No, here's your, okay, Maddie, you get one too. Okay.
Oh, geez.
Oh, I'm not a good thrower, I'm sorry.
I'm not a good catch.
I almost took out Skyler, sorry, Skyler. So, yeah, I think everything is about position, right? I mean, you're not gonna do it in a way like, we want you to take this. You know, it's all about, hey, we're trying to start the conversation, we're trying to make it easier for you. Michelle, what have you guys done with those?
Yeah, Trent does them, he doesn't actually. He's doing them verbally. He's verbally.
Yeah.
And show this like, on the fence, what about this? Yeah, maybe healing.
Yeah. Yeah, and verbal is probably a great first step,
Yeah. for sure.
and then if they say
Don't waste your
yes,
time necessarily,
Yeah.
but talking to,
I had a big house 6, 7 years ago, just over $1 million, which was a pretty big house. They accepted a reversal. We played. They didn't accept it as is, but that's how we started the conversation. So,
Sometimes it's just getting a start.
yeah,
Like it's just removing the barrier of, you know, where people start to really want it, but then if they get it, maybe this is meant to be, but
yeah.
let's negotiate.
Well, it also shows the sellers are pretty motivated. So to me, if I get a reverse offer, I'm like, oh, pretty motivated here. You know, they started a conversation with you. Is there a price at which this makes sense for you? And it may not be that price, right? So maybe in the reverse offer, you had that.
I talk about it whenever I walk into like listing appointments and stuff, and just because I don't ever see most anybody ever actually do it, but, and I've never done one, but I always
Yeah.
kind of make the offer, like, hey, you know, at a certain point, we can start making buyers offers, you know, but I should be doing it earlier in the, I mean, again, should be doing it in general, but I should be doing it earlier in the process versus just, you know, hey, it's been on for,
Yeah.
you know, 3 weeks, you
Yeah.
know, it's starting to
Yeah.
get a little, right.
Well, and it's gonna be the right buyer, right? So, you know, again, if Brittany has a buyer and they seem to really like it, but, you know, they're not jumping for whatever reason, because they kind of sort of wanted a better backyard, that's the candidate. You know, whereas if Tasha has a buyer that said, no, all bedrooms are too small, they're probably not the candidate, right? So it's really who's the,
Like, who's gonna feel like I'm getting a deal, I'm only kind of losing some of my check boxes, but they're not.
but are they deal breaker check boxes? Because, oh, by the way, there's a park 2 blocks away. So do you have to have that flat backyard? Or can you go to the park 2 blocks away? So, yeah, I like that. I think that's good. And what you said, Andrew, if I understood correctly, is you're talking about it in your listing presentation.
I've mentioned it in, again, a handful of listing presentations. It's something that's a little bit newer. Just the, you know, the concept, I guess, just is newer to me. You know, I gotta kind of rewire my brain. But,
Well, we haven't had to.
it's not something that we,
Right.
right, exactly.
Right.
I mean, you know, gone are the days, obviously, where you can just kind of throw anything at the wall, you
Right.
know, and, well, how much should I list my house for? How much do you want to list your house?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Uh,
If,
right, yeah.
but I like that. And just like the reverse prospecting, bringing that up in that listing
Bring value, yeah.
presentation, your competition is probably not having those conversations. And if they're not having those conversations, all of a sudden you look like the guru. Whether you've sold 2 homes or 200 homes, they know they're working, they're coming up with creative ideas, they're problem solvers. I mean, that has to play well.
But how often, you know, for those of us who have called expireds, you know, the typical expired script is, well, whenever your agent was doing, you know, A, B, and C,
Yeah.
did they, you know, I'd start to incorporate that into like an expired,
Right.
you know, and just be like, well, whenever your agent was calling, you know, was reverse prospecting for you and, you know, finding other agents who have, you know, their buyers set up,
Right.
you know, like, honestly, there's not.
Right, and they're, yeah, 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 that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
I would just add, you know, that's why being in the office is so important. A good chunk of you are here a lot, so I'm speaking to the choir, and yet there are conversations that are had in this building that organically happen, and next thing you know, Shannon's like, oh, I've got this buyer, I can't find them anything, and then Michelle's like, oh my gosh, I have a listing coming up next week. Deals happen. Andrew and I.
Email, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew came into my office. He's like, I have this buyer. They have to write an offer like tonight if they're gonna get this house, but it doesn't check off all the boxes. Like, I feel like they're just kind of writing because they've got nothing left.
That's what we
to
have,
do.
right? Yeah.
And I'm like, well, tell me more. What are they looking for? Because I'm thinking at that time, I'm talking to a lot of you, so I might be able to say, have you called Ben Espen Shade? That sounds like something you might have. He literally described my house. And I was like, can they come over tonight and don't mind the mess? And then Josh shows up, that's how it is.
We didn't go over that.
And right,
And they wrote it, and now, so the power is just, you gotta be talking about it, you gotta be around agents, like, we always think that we need to be prospecting to potential clients, but there is bold prospecting to each other.
Which is why that's part of the 75 hard challenge in connecting with other agents.
and I would also submit to you, reverse prospecting is a great opportunity to be connecting with agents outside the office that you might want to see be inside the office. Some of my best relationships with agents that have been outside the office that ended up in here were great conversations.
I love that.
It's a great way to really,
I love that.
and, you know, build you down right.
Yeah, and be able to collaborate with those that you like from, get them in here.
Right.
Collaborate more.
Exactly.
So that's what it's about.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.